Welcome. I want to talk about this gross, fuzzy tank. So, all that fuzzy grossness. So, um, what is it? That stuff. It's mostly algae. It's more of a organism too. It supports a whole little habitat. It used to look different, even 2 3 weeks ago, because I had a plant in there that had very fine roots that would shed, a floating plant, and uh, those roots would shed and the fibers would get mixed up in this, and that turned it into like a little dirty ball. So it even looked different a couple weeks ago, but you know, everything is just kind of called algae. It's really from an imbalance. And what's causing it in this tank? There's two problems with this tank right now, I think, that contribute to this more than anything. And one of them being there are some plecos in here that eat my ram's horn and pond snails. If you watch my videos, you'll notice a lot of my tanks have kind of large looking ram's horn and radix pond snails, the big pond snail. Um, and I say they're bigger because I squish the little ones frequently, and I squish the little ones to encourage the larger ones to keep growing because they'll grow pretty significantly, right, or to a large size. And then those larger ram's horn and radix pond snails are pretty good at eating this stuff. So I use them as my primary algae control, and I do that too. It may sound a little excessive, using snails to control algae and squishing them, but I also feed my fish and shrimp with them too. So every time I open a lid, I'll try and squish a few snails if I can. But you'll notice anyway, I'm missing them in this tank, and it's because of those. There's this fish in there that are eating them. There's some killifish in here too. Um, these guys that will eat those snails. Anyway, and the other reason, so I'm really lacking my primary algae eaters, all right, in those snails. And then the other reason is this plant here, Rotala, Bangladesh. It's kind of a problematic aquarium plant. I really don't like difficult aquarium plants because a lot of aquarium plants aren't really aquarium plants unless you're really going to keep them in a high CO2 type environment. Problematic plants do stuff like this, and a big reason for this algae is just this plant may look awesome. It grows pretty good, but it does contribute to this. I have it in a few tanks. I have it in a few tanks. In some tanks, it does really well. Others, I'll add it to that tank, and it will contribute to algae problems. So, and I'll say that, like I said, some aquarium plants really shouldn't be sold as aquarium plants to begin with. Unless, like I said, you're in a high tech kind of system and can really keep that plant functioning. And what happens is, in a plant is just an organic machine, and it's a very efficient one. So when it's not working properly, who knows what it's doing to the water? It's chewing through a lot of elements, right? And if it's not using them efficiently, who knows what it's expelling or doing to the water around it, right? And then too, I think this algae is a little bit parasitic. So this plant is just susceptible to this stuff attaching to it, and I think almost in a way feeding it. So anyway, those are the two problems with this tank. That kind of gets into what we are doing to fix this problem, and honestly, I don't know because uh, I keep kind of low tech systems. So I don't have. This tank is unique in that I have this air stone here, but I usually just have one air stone in my tanks, and no filtration. I kind of use a natural kind of system. So this tank's unique that I got the second bubbler on there, and it's just because this Madagascar lace plant likes water flow. So, and I'm trying to keep it clean and combat this algae. So, I really don't have a whole lot of tools at my disposal here because I don't like a lot of flow. I would love a lot more flow in my tanks, but I'm kind of limited on aeration and power and humidity, and so I really just need this tank to find its happy place. And usually in this situation, what it's going to take is just the right combination of plants. I think I just need to remove a lot of this plant, and this problem should go away by itself over time here. I don't know. We're going to play with this. So just let me recap this. This tank really has two significant issues. Just the lack of large snails or, some sort of thing that can clean my plants. Like all that fuzz on that plant is just starving it. It's usually my big snails that come by and munch, munch, munch. But I don't have that in this tank. And the other problem just being, this plant is a little problematic here. Just need to reduce it. And I'm going to do those two things, and let's just check on this tank, and hopefully we'll get it all squared away.